ko te pāhara keke, me tupu matomato, hei reanga āhuru mo te wao nui. Ko te pae tawhiti, whaia kia tata. Ko te pae tata, whakamaua kia tīna.
Kia ora. Introducing Dr. Yvette Dickinson, our scientist today. She is a forest scientist, or otherwise known as silviculturist, who studies the ecology of forests and how to manage forests for positive outcomes. Can you please share with us how the Ngāhere has changed in Aotearoa?
Absolutely. So according to science, we think that prior to Maori arriving in New Zealand, there was about 80% forest across the land. 20% of the land was probably covered by things like ice and snow and water, places where trees can't grow. But after Maori arrived, that probably declined to maybe about 50% forest cover. And then when Europeans arrived, it probably dropped even further, down to maybe 25 or 30%. And also when both Maori and Europeans arrived, they brought with them lots of animals and plants. Many of those have become invasive species. And so we know that over the last couple of thousand years, New Zealand forests have gone through some really big changes.
So what can you tell us about the Ngāhere today?
So most of our Ngāhere is part of the conservation estate these days. We have lost a lot of our lowland forests, so much of our forest that we have is up in the mountains, and that's quite different forest than the forest that we've lost. We also have pests and diseases and weeds that have come in from overseas and really changing these forests as well. And we've also got the effects of climate change that are already being felt by these forests. We do manage these forests. We try and control those invasive weeds, mammals and pests and diseases. And we also try and limit or control how people access and use the forests as well. We try and prioritise what we do in those forests, and that's all part of the management that we do.
How does science and research contribute to the Ngāhere?
So in ecology, what we're trying to do is understand how forests work, those processes that are happening within the forest, and all the parts of the forest, how they interact with each other. We try and collect data and information that helps tell us about the forest. That information helps us make decisions. So we try and design models that help us predict what happens in different scenarios and what might happen in the future. And that helps inform management. Sometimes the best kind of management is actually not doing anything at all.
Okay, so how important are the trees to the environment?
Trees are really important to our environment. They provide us with so many ecosystem services. So it's not just the wood and the paper and the products that they provide us, but they also protect our soil and water and provide us with clean air. They provide habitat for wildlife, and they also sequester carbon from the atmosphere to help us mitigate climate change. We've also got to remember that we're really interdependent on these forests. We're part of these ecosystems, we're not separate from them, and everything that we do, even activities outside the forest, affect them.
E kore au e ngaro, e kākono I ruia mai I rangi ātea. Tihei, Mōri ora.